It had occurred to me on previous occasions that perhaps my father did not commit the murders of which he told me, that he was merely among those present. Well, that took a bit of working out for a start. Still, I can't dismiss it as a possibility. Yes, there were occasions when he nearly killed me, but nearly is the operative word. On the other hand, I'm his daughter, or was. I thought he was more than capable of killing. I still think so. However, if you wanted to be an informant, might you perhaps do that by proxy? In 1988, I went to the police and turned in a pawn ring. At the time, I did not know that my father was involved in that pawn ring. And the horrible truth is, if I had known, for various assorted reasons, I might well not have gone to the police. Now that my father didn't know. What he does know is he's got a daughter who's not afraid to go to the police when something bad enough happens to warrant that. That was in 1988. In December 1989, he phoned me to tell me of my mother's death. The same as Fiona, no doctor called, no paramedics, no nothing. Only me. She had been dead for some time when I arrived, and no one else had been called except me. Did he tell me in the hope that I would go to the police? And what is the horrible truth here? Whoops. At that time, I wouldn't, because he was my father. I don't know whether that was Stockholm Syndrome, misguided loyalty. It was, even in a measure, some small measure, love, because I loved the nice daddy. I loved the nice dad. Hated the other one. But it might have been a reasonable assumption on his part that I would go to the police. Well, I didn't, so perhaps he thought he hadn't made it quite obvious enough that my mother's death was murder. He made it very obvious to me when he phoned me re Fiona's murder in 1994 that it was murder. There was in the end absolutely nothing else that I could think, because of the timeline. And again I have to ask myself, by making it just that bit more obvious that it was murder, did he think that I would go to the police? Well, Ellie and I am quite certain did tell the police about my phone call. They never questioned me about it. But I am quite certain that she would not have omitted to tell them. He must have known that that I would go to see Ellen and commiserate with her. He must have known that. And he must have known that the very first thing that she would tell me was that he could not have known at 7 a.m. that Fiona was dead, because the police did not tell her until the middle of the afternoon or late afternoon. Would it perhaps be a reasonable assumption to think that I would go to the police? Or even that at the inquest I would stand up and say, hang on. You're telling me Fiona was pronounced dead at 9:15. My father phoned me at 7 a.m. to tell me she was dead. Please don't tell me there's nothing in that. I think this is highly relevant. In short, did my father think that I would be an informant on his behalf, an informant by proxy? If so, what good would that have done him? Especially in 1994. Because my brother is most insistent that in 1994, my father knew he had terminal cancer. I did not, and I lived round the corner from him, and my brother lived well over 200 miles away. Still, it's possible that my father chose to tell my brother, and not to tell me, and not to tell my daughter. But if he was dying anyway, if he had cancer. I'm sorry about the ifs here, Mikey. What good would it do him for me to tell the police? What possible good would come of that? I really can't work this one out, and the reason that I can't work it out is because I know nothing about the workings of the criminal underworld, of which my father was undoubtedly a part.